Hello everybody, it's Mrs. Pound. We are studying Chapter 5.3 on Movement and Senses from Purposeful Designs Life Science. Today we're going to take a look at the very last section of this chapter, Section 5.3.4 on the senses. So now you have all the information you need to start studying for that test. Our objectives for today's video are to identify the parts of the eye and describe how to enable sight, label the parts of the ear and summarize how the parts work together to make hearing possible, and explain how the body detects smell, and name the 5 basic tastes. So first, let's talk about sight in the eye, and there's a diagram in your book on page 281. So here is a diagram of the eye, and the eye consists, the main parts I'm going to talk about are the cornea, the iris, the pupil, the lens, and the retina. And it's not labeled here, but this is the optic nerve that takes impulses to the brain. And you can see it right here. There's that little spot where that optic nerve comes in. So when you see something, the cornea is just this clear covering over the eye that allows light to pass through. The iris is the colored part of the eye, and it controls the size of the pupil, which allows different amounts of light in. If it's very light, your pupil will be smaller. If it's really dark, your pupil will be larger. The lens is what allows you to focus the image that comes in through the eye on the retina. Now, as it comes in, light rays from the bottom go up this way and crisscross, and light rays from over here come this way and go this way. So actually the image on your retina is flipped, but your brain will flip that image so it's actually upside down and backwards, like when we're looking through a microscope, but your brain flips that so that you see everything the way it really is. Now on the retina there are special cells that detect the light and form that image. There are rod cells. These are a light-sensitive cell in the eye used in non-color vision and low light situations. So with rods, you would only see black and white. So there's no color here. That's why when there's not a lot of light, everything doesn't really have color, because you are mostly using your rods there. Cones are a light-sensitive cell in the eye used for color vision and fine detail. So those are the cones. Cone for color. Cone, color. Okay? Now let's talk about hearing in the ears. And there's a diagram in your book on page 282. So here's a diagram of the ear. There's the outer ear, the middle ear here, and the inner ear. And taking a look at these, we have the auditory canal. We have the tympanic membrane here, also called your eardrum. There's the malleus, incus, and stapes. The stapes is actually the smallest bone in your body. Now, more commonly, these are known as the hammer, the anvil, and the stirrup. Okay, and so what happens is sound comes in through the ear canal. It vibrates the tympanic cavity, which sends these bones vibrating. They are touching the cochlea, which has fluid in it, and that fluid creates waves that are then, the impulses from that are carried by the cochlear nerve to the brain to be interpreted. Now, these semicircular canals, these are important for balance. They are filled with fluid, and this vestibular nerve will take impulses to your brain concerning your balance. So if you start to feel dizzy, it's due to something with these semicircular canals. And the eustachian tube here, this is to equalize pressure. Okay, it goes down to your throat, and if you get an ear infection, it's because there are bacteria that go up through this eustachian tube and will cause pressure on the tympanic cavity, causing a great deal of pain. So the tympanic membrane is the eardrum, right here. And the eustachian tube is the air passageway that connects the middle ear to the throat. Now, sometimes your ears pop, especially when you're changing altitude. And so that is sometimes helped if you're chewing gum or you just move your jaw, because it will help to equalize that pressure in your eustachian tube. The ears are also important for maintaining a sense of balance, as I discussed with those semicircular canals. So semicircular canals right here maintain balance. So let's talk about smell with the nose. The sense of smell depends on receptors that send impulses to the brain by the olfactory nerves. So olfactory nerves, odor, think olfactory odor, okay? And finally, taste with the tongue. On your tongue, you have papillae. These are tiny projections on the tongue surface that contain taste buds. So these bumps, these are your papillae, and they contain your taste buds. And the 5 basic tastes are salty, sweet, bitter, umami, and sour. So you're probably saying, what is umami? That is like that savory, meaty taste is what umami is. It's a Japanese word. And we used to think that different parts of the tongue tasted things differently. We now know that for the most part, all of your taste buds taste everything. They're not different sections of your tongue that taste different things better, like sweet in one spot and sour in another. That is not true, except there do tend to be more taste buds on the back of your tongue that taste bitter. So that's the only exception. So our objectives today were to identify the parts of the eye and describe how it enables. So the objectives for today's video were to identify the parts of the eye and describe how it enables sight, label the parts of the ear and summarize how the parts work together to make hearing possible, explain how the body detects smell, and name the 5 basic tastes. So don't forget your 5 questions in your notes, and keep watching this video to answer the questions at the end.